not just to see, but to hear Bryan Kohberger in open court in Idaho. You know why? Because apart from an old police body cam video, we never really heard his voice before yesterday. Kohberger stood silent, remember that? At his arraignment on quadruple murder charges 2 years ago. And since then, it was his court-appointed lawyers who have spoken on his behalf. He didn't say much even yesterday. Well, certainly not as much as people were hoping. But his one-word answers carried more weight than 2 years of prosecution and defense arguments combined. The PhD criminology student from Pennsylvania admitted that in November of 2022, he broke into a house near the University of Idaho and fatally stabbed 4 of the 6 people inside.
Did you, on November 13th, 2022, enter the residence at 1122 King Road in Moscow, Idaho, with the intent to commit the felony crime of murder?
Yes.
Did you, on November 13th, 2022, in Latah County, state of Idaho, kill and murder Madison Mogen, a human being?
Yes.
And did you do that willfully, unlawfully, deliberately, and with premeditation and malice of forethought?
Yes.
The judge asked the exact same questions for every victim: Madison Mogen, Xana Kernodle, Kaylee Goncalves, and Ethan Chapin. And Kohberger answered yes the exact same way, in this monotone, robotic. There was no inflection, there was no emotion. Kohberger uttered only 3 words yesterday: yes, no, and guilty. He said yes 41 times, no 6 times, and guilty 5 times, 4 for each charge of first-degree murder and 1 for burglary. And by the way, you know what really makes this upsetting? It's that just days earlier, the defense was still hatching an alternate perpetrator strategy, pointing fingers at 4 innocent real people while claiming Kohberger was not guilty of the killings. Look, I'm an attorney, okay? I get it. Have to put on a defense. That still bothers me, okay? And I know I'm not the only one. Now, Bryan Kohberger faces sentencing later this month, and there's no suspense there. It's going to be life in prison, no parole, no appeals. That's the deal. That's the deal in exchange with the state taking the death penalty off the table. So when Ashleigh connected with TMZ's Harvey Levin yesterday, the emotion was still raw for both of them. Watch.
I don't know about you, Harvey, but I knew what was coming today, and I was still, it took the breath out of me to see Bryan Kohberger say, I did it, over and over again.
Boy, when you heard that, I literally just got chills when you said that. When I heard that as well, that it's not just I'm pleading guilty to save my ass. I'm pleading guilty because I killed them one by one, and he admitted them one by one that he killed them. And to hear that, and also, Ashleigh, his voice really struck me, that it was, yes, I did, yes, I did, yes, I did. And
matter of fact,
no remorse, nothing, just, yeah, get me out of here. And that's what it felt like. And you can just imagine, I mean, I know you had Steve Gonzalez on, and you can just imagine the rage when he hears, yeah, I killed him, yeah, I killed her, and it just must be overwhelming.
Also shocking, 2 court reporters that I've spoken to report that he didn't even look at his parents. His parents were finally there for I believe, the first time. He came into court, did not even look at them.
Well, he is a sociopath. Look, somebody who did what he did, you can't ascribe normal motives to him. You know, it's like he didn't look at his parents. Not shocking, because he killed 4 people. He went into a house and killed 4 people in the middle of the night who were sleeping. So none of it surprises me. You know, the arrogance of, yeah, I did it, didn't surprise me. The lack of remorse didn't surprise me. I mean, none of it really. I'll tell you, we have been trying, and I know you have too, to get an answer from the prosecutors. Why did you take the death penalty off the table? The only thing I can tell you is we found a case in the 90s where the same DA had a case before them with a stabbing of 2 people, stabbed to death, took the death penalty off the table the same way. And I don't know if there's an MO here, but he's certainly not offering any explanation for why he would do something like this. There was just, and you know, I spoke with one of the family members hours after this came out that there was a plea bargain, and she was telling me that they had a meeting late last week where they were talking about preparing him for trial, and then kind of vaguely came up, he hasn't asked for a plea bargain yet, but that may happen, and that was it. And they never said anything beyond that. And the judge even said he didn't know until the news broke.
Monday.
Yeah.
We found out Monday. And the families weren't even called. They got an email with a letter attached saying, here's the deal. It's been accepted.
Who does that?
Who does that?
It is shocking to me that the prosecutors did it this way. And even though two families agree with this, what about the other two? I mean, just explaining it to them. And, you know, I was on the phone, like I was telling you, when I talked to this family member, she said she was on a Zoom call with prosecutors at that point and trying to get an answer as to why they did what they did. And she couldn't tell me. She said, I'm not hearing it. So just imagine how frustrating. Well, I mean, you know, because you talked to Steve.
Well, let me ask you something. Today, I learned a few things and was pretty surprised. Number one, I learned that the apartment in Pullman, Washington that they raided had zero evidence in it, evidentiary value evidence in it, which shocked me because I thought, well, maybe there'll be a dog hair, maybe there'll be blood, maybe there'll be something that will tie Bryan Kohberger to the scene. Zero. And I wondered, well, did that worry the prosecutors? Was that one of the reasons?
What about the knife sheath? The blood.
Well, see, this is you and I are on the same page. It was overwhelming, you know, this case. By the way, I got to ask you something. I also learned today for the first time that the prosecutor said the killer, Bryan Kohberger, came into that house and went straight to the third floor, killed Maddie and Kaylee, and then encountered Xana on the way down those stairs. He wasn't clear as to whether he got Xana on the stairs or chased her back to her bedroom, but she was killed in that bedroom. There was no other blood in the hallway anywhere. And I wondered if you think, and this is me just sort of putting it together, did Xana come out to the kitchen to get her DoorDash? And on her way back, literally came in contact with Kohberger coming down the stairs and ran for Ethan. And but for that DoorDash, that Kohberger murderer may have just gone out the back door. And Ethan and Xana might have been spared like Bethany and Dylan.
Yeah, I don't know. You make a good point. Wasn't it Bethany who encountered him on his way out and he just went past her?
Dylan, but she had just peeked open the door, and I don't even know how much she peeked open the door.
But my point is, if he killed Xana when she was present and visible, and if he had seen Dylan on his way out, why did he spare her?
Yeah, that's why I said, I think he may not have seen that door crack open.
Oh, you think she just saw it? But I thought they saw each other.
It was dark in there. It's 4 a.m. I think that's one of the only reasons. Because
but he killed Xana.
Well, if he chased Xana to Ethan's bed, because Ethan is still asleep, and he killed Xana, having encountered her on the staircase and running obviously back into the room, because that's where they found the body, and there was no evidence of a murder along the way.
Wouldn't there have been a blood trail?
There would have been. That's why I think he chased her into her bedroom.
Before stabbing her.
Yes, and stabbed her in the bedroom. She's probably yelling for help and terrified. Gets to the bedroom. He's stabbing her. Ethan's waking up, and he's already on to Ethan. And then he comes out and encounters.
You're saying he never would have gone into that bedroom, maybe.
That's what I think. I think it's possible because the prosecutor said.
That is so tragic. It's
Listen, and it's even worse. He says, Harvey, I don't know if Bryan Kohberger intended to kill all those victims when he went there. Now, you know that you can form intent in 1 second, so it's still first degree no matter what. But he said, I don't know whether he intended to come for all 4 of them or just the 2 upstairs, or maybe even 1 upstairs.
He had scoped out that house, so he knew who lived there. He knew who lived.
A girl or 2 girls, maybe?
No, I think he knew how many people were living in that house. I think he knew. I mean, he was very intentional, you know, over a period of time. So if he knew there were 4 people in the house, why would he have gone in only for 2?
Maybe, and I'm just going to throw it out there, maybe he only wanted 1. And when he went up to that 3rd floor, there were 2 in the same bed.
That's hard to swallow. If he is a killer like he is, he was literally out for blood. That's a hard...
You know what else? He took off like a bat out of hell. This is new to me today as well. He took off so fast that he almost lost control of his vehicle getting out of there. And I just wonder if that's the amped up killer who just went through a bloodbath he wasn't expecting. There's so much. Oh, by the way, I thought I'd get your reaction on this before we close. The gag order will be lifted, apparently, after sentencing. We will learn more about this investigation finally. At least that will satisfy so many people who feel so unsatisfied by this result.
Yeah, but if the gag order is lifted and it shows there's overwhelming evidence, this is not going to be settled until prosecutors say why they folded on the death penalty.
And I tend to agree with Ashleigh, but even if they lift that gag order, will we ever know the why? Not sure. Now, Kohberger's sentencing and victim impact statements, they happen Wednesday, July 23rd, when we're all expected to be watching jury selection. The judge set aside the 24th, too, just in case. And by the way, speaking of Harvey Levin, I want to remind you that this long weekend will be a great chance to catch TMZ's special coverage of the Diddy trial. It's called TMZ Presents United States versus Sean Combs Inside the Diddy Trial, and it is streaming now on Tubi.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.